laid-back icon. All right, let's find out what was in the budget locally. David Smith is the member for Bean. We haven't spoken to him for a while, so it's good to have him on the line. Dave, good day.
Yeah, good morning, Stephen. How are you?
Very well. Not a lot in this budget for Canberra. I mean, Andrew Lee spoke to us earlier this morning and talked about a lot of investment in the national institutions, which is great, but for Canberra proper and the local economy, not a lot that's really come out of this budget for us.
So, Stephen, I think one of the big things for Canberra is probably just a reinvestment in the public service. You know, in terms of infrastructure, in my neck of the woods, there's still that commitment to the Molonglo Bridge, which is pretty critical for the Molonglo Valley. But look, the national half $500 million into the national institutions isn't something you can sneeze at. But yeah, look, there's a whole challenge, I think, in this budget of trying to balance expectations and be responsible in terms of how we deliver. Having
said that, though, there's still a fair bit of extra spending, and I guess this is significant locally, that no new spending for defence. In fact, I saw a previous Defence Minister, Stephen Conroy, suggest that had the government handed another $20 billion to the ADF, they wouldn't know how to spend it. I think that's a bit ridiculous, isn't it?
I think, look, as someone who worked with defence over a long period of time, Stephen, it's an interesting place, and I think obviously what we saw through the DSR and its review is really a reprioritising of spending. So pretty much getting that money into long-range strike missiles and local manufacturing. So it's trying to get the balance right in terms of understanding, you know, what are the areas we should be investing in for the protection of our region and also of more broadly of our interests right across the region. So again, it's been done in I think a reasonably responsible way.
David, when it comes to local investment, all the talk, of course, is going to be about a new stadium, and I'm not prepared to be critical of the federal government for this because it's, you can't just throw a bunch of money at the ACT government unless they come to you with a plan. The question I want to ask, is there scope for the federal government to take it upon themselves to redevelop the Australian Institute of Sport site, build a new stadium and cut the ACT government out altogether so this thing actually happens?
Look. I think the preference, obviously, of the government is to work with our local government too. But there is, a significant desire to really put additional investment back into the AIS. So it's something that the AIS is seriously interested in. But I guess my preference is still for both governments to work together and hopefully. We have an opportunity when we come around to our next budget to be considering some better options. I can understand the interest in a civic stadium as an option in terms of its capacity just to really activate that whole part of Canberra, which I think most businesses would benefit from if we could get that happening.
Yeah, look, I've always said I don't care where it's built. I'm a bit agnostic as to where it goes, but it just seems to be there seems to be a disconnect between the ACT government and the federal government, which was supposed to disappear when you guys got elected in May, but it hasn't changed.
Well, I think from our perspective, the $500 million going into the national and cultural institutions is a pretty big outcome in this budget. But there isn't a reason why we shouldn't be able to work through priorities and think about what we can deliver across the rest of this term. We're not even quite a year through the term, Stephen. But I can certainly understand the challenge and the frustration at times too.
David, good to talk to you. Thanks for your time this morning.
Hey, thanks, Stephen.
All the best. David Smith is the member for Bean. It is 12 minutes past 8.
The continuous call team on 2CC.
So I worked with Gal on a Tuesday, and he came along and he brought his young bloke, and Cardi was out there doing the lawn mowing. And I said, how much did Dad give you for doing the lawn? She said, $10. No.